So a couple months ago, I decided to do a dopamine detox. Let's go, guys. No video games, no music, no junk food, no nothing that is essentially considered high dopamine. And you may also have seen those dopamine videos on YouTube. You may even have seen my does dopamine detoxing actually work video. If you haven't, go check it out. But when I went into a dopamine detoxing, I didn't know what the real benefits would be. I mean, I heard that it resets your dopamine baseline and does cool stuff for you, but I didn't know actually what it was that was waiting for me at the end of the tunnel. And so today, that's what I want to share with you. Because if you're really motivated right now about self-improvement and changing your life and monk mode, dopamine detox, all these things, well, I want to guide you through that journey. And if I can actually share with you what it is, what the treasure chest is that'll be waiting for you, well, it'll make your journey a lot better. And so today, I just want to share with you the real benefits of dopamine detoxing and what it is you actually get from doing this so-called life-changing protocol. So the single greatest thing you get from dopamine detoxing, single greatest benefit, is increased motivation. Because let me make this clear. Dopamine is not the molecule of pleasure. You often hear about dopamine hits and this is such a high dopamine activity. I may even say that, but dopamine is not that. Dopamine is correlated with motivation and pursuit, and it's not pleasure. It's like the pleasure of pursuit. Does that make sense? Think of dopamine as the motivation molecule. So it goes up in apprehension of what you're about to do. Like, your dopamine doesn't actually rise that much when you indulge in something. It mostly rises in apprehension of what you want to indulge. So I hope I didn't fuck that up too much. But basically, if dopamine is the molecule of motivation, well, we want more dopamine, right? And when I said that your baseline increases during a dopamine detox, well, that is true, because when you cut out shit dopamine and when you cut out cheap dopamine hits, even though those don't really exist, I have to explain this. So when you're doing a bad habit, your dopamine goes up, but then when your dopamine goes up, your dopamine has to go back down below baseline. And when you essentially indulge too much, your dopamine goes up and up and up, but then it goes down, and you bring your baseline down. You bring your levels of motivation down. So if you can reduce the amount of shitty habits you're doing, if you can reduce the bad dopamine ups that you get, well, your baseline will slowly start to recover, and the pool of dopamine available in your body will go up, meaning that essentially your baseline level of motivation will go up. And motivation is and feeling motivated is such a great feeling. Discipline and willpower are great things, but if you can be motivated for something, the guy who's motivated to go to the gym every single day will inevitably get better results and will inevitably play the game of going to the gym longer and always win that game than the disciplined guy who has to struggle through the workouts and who has to muster up the willpower to push through the last extra. Motivation should not be shit on. Motivation is great, and dopamine detoxing raises your motivation a shit ton, because it essentially raises the molecule of motivation, and correlated to motivation, because if you're motivated to do hard things, well, you'll be more productive. And that's the second actual benefit of dopamine detoxing. Your productivity goes up, because when you're always wasting your time with bad habits, if you go from you wake up and then you scroll and then you go play video games and then you're gonna watch a show while scrolling, while eating junk food, all of these things are absolutely destroying your dopamine, and you actually don't feel that good while doing them. And if you don't feel pleasure while doing a pleasurable activity, that clearly shows something is wrong. And when you overindulge, well, it makes the hard work that you want to do to get to your goals. If you want to be an athlete, it makes the going to the gym harder. If you want to be a YouTuber, it makes recording the videos harder, because your dopamine reservoir is completely depleted, because you've simply used your dopamine, you've mashed your dopamine button too much. But so if you can stop mashing it, and if you can do dopamine activities that will increase your pool of dopamine, well, that'll inevitably increase your productivity. And the last thing that you improve, the last improvement you get from a dopamine detox is that your mental health improves. Like, I'm pretty sure this is just correlated to like the amount of dopamine you have in you, and when your dopamine reservoir goes up, like your feelings of well-being, motivation, mental health all go up. And Dr. Huberman, you know, the really famous science guy on YouTube, well, he said that the amount of dopamine that you had in your body, essentially your dopamine baseline and dopamine pool, well, how much you had in that was very, very highly correlated to how good you felt and how your well-being was. And so it's my belief that when you do a dopamine detox, your mental health improves, and essentially everything improves from your mental health. Like, anything bad you can think of will pretty much decrease, and anything good you can think of, well, I'm pretty sure it'll increase as a result of doing dopamine detoxing. Alright, hope this helped you, and I cannot wait to see the progress that you make. Cheers, bro.